Welcome to the Cleaning Up Business Podcast. My name's Chris Guilfoyle and I'm going to be your host. In every episode, we're hoping to bring you industry leaders from a wide variety of service sectors, disruptors within their industry, and day-to-day entrepreneurs with some business and life lessons for you guys to take away. Let's jump in to today's episode. When you think about it, it's a service that most people would probably be interested in.
But yeah, there's a lot of people doing it dangerously, as like you say, to start with, and doing it wrong as well.
Unfortunately, you've got to do that by making mistakes sometimes. Having one of the first fully enclosed bin cleaning trucks.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Bin juice.
Bin juice. Spot on. I was going to say that. I was being PC.
Luckily, after the first street, there was a few people that said they'd be interested in it, which was a big decision. It was kind of playing on my mind for a few years.
What made you come to that decision?
£13,950 on some diamonds. No fires in 10 years and 2 fires in 2 days. You can't make that up, can you?
Welcome back to another episode of the Cleaning Up Business Podcast with me, Chris Guilfoyle. And today I have another fantastic guest from the cleaning industry. I have Conan Sammon with me, the owner and founder of the London Bin Cleaning Company. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, LBC for short. So Conan's going to tell us a little bit about his journey and how he started and founded LBC and some of the challenges that come along with that. So Conan, thank you for joining me today.
Pleasure.
So with all our guests, we go all the way back to the early days. So tell me a little bit about yourself and your journey up towards starting LBC. Yeah,
absolutely. So grew up in Rayners Lane in Harrow, went to secondary school in Wealdstone, straight from secondary school onto college in Harrow on the Hill. After that, I went to university in Reading.
What did you do at uni? What did you do at college? What did you study?
College, the usual sort of like maths, bit of business. Yeah. Maths only for about 1 year, and then it got very hard. Business, psychology, they were the main ones. Yeah. And then uni started doing business economics in Reading. That was good fun. And then
how long was you there?
So I was there 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and
pass.
Yeah,
see that through.
Yeah, seen that through to the end. Yeah. It was fairly difficult, but managed to get a degree out of it. Just a basic one. Nothing. I seem to academically slip as soon as alcohol gets involved and going out and partying.
Go
and
uni
stuff.
with your mates.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, on uni, but we always say when we've ever guests that are come on, did you find it useful? Was it a good? Would you say that was a good business decision? Yeah,
so I get asked that quite a lot, and not so much. Even got asked it today actually by the physio who was asking me about it, and I said, yeah, not really. So I'd studied business economics at uni, and it was good, but it was all theory based. Yeah. Whereas if I had the chance now, I'd probably either go straight into it, or I would have done different modules more related to entrepreneurial or management or something like that. Yeah. But definitely the whole experience was good going to uni. And
it was.
Yeah.
So I missed out on uni, and I think if I'd maybe applied myself academically at school a bit more, I probably would have gone there. But I always find it interesting because there's always that debate of, oh, well, unless you're going to be in law or a doctor or something like that, it's not really. Apparently, I see statistically more people now say a uni degree is not actually worth the investment in terms of money, capital, versus the job opportunities it gives you when you come out. So I always ask guests that, especially that have been to uni, if they think that was a good investment. So, and usually it's a no.
No, 100%. I mean, most people a lot of people go to uni now, don't they? Whereas back in the day, it was only for
bit select,
really wealthy people, wasn't it, to go? Yeah.
So you found that useful. So what happened after uni?
Yeah, so after uni, I always wanted to have a business. Didn't know what it was going to be. Remember people asking me, I said, yeah, I want to go into business, but never really knew. Got a bit nervous when stuff started getting real towards the last year of uni and people started getting jobs and stuff. And I was like, oh shit, I haven't got anything lined up. But then it was on the last year of uni, summer holidays, and came up with the idea to start London Bin Cleaning.
Yeah.
So to give a bit of background to the story, I had a pressure washer sitting in the shed. My dad, a few years before that, had done a little bit of driveway cleaning on the side. He was a plasterer by trade, and he got into that. So that's probably where the background, the jet washing was in the back of that head. And then just like most people, that sort of age, you're looking to earn a bit of extra money on the holidays. So I thought, what can I do? Wash windows, wash cars, cut the grass, like the usual things that you might think of. And then I thought, oh, what about wheelie bins? Haven't seen anybody washing them. I wonder would people pay for that? So basically just took the idea and went knocking on loads of neighbours' houses, printed out a little sheet of paper, just said what the service would be, said that I was planning on starting it up and would they be interested. And then luckily after the first street, there was a few people that said they'd be interested in it.
The concept of actual bin cleaning, to be honest, has that been done before? Because it's not, when you think about it, it's a service that most people would probably be interested in. I know from my experience, in my bins at my house, you get the, run off at the bottom or whatever the technical term is for it.
Bin juice.
Bin juice. Spot on. I was going to say that. I was being PC, but bin juice. And you think, I don't know, is there a lot of companies, a lot of businesses out there that do bin cleaning?
So when I first thought of the idea, I naively thought that it was the first time I'd never seen anyone do it. I just thought
you've got the new Amazon.
Yeah, I thought I had the idea, but then as soon as I started, I seen there was other people doing it, and it's been out for at least the longest person I knew about it when I started had still been going for at least 10 years. So at least 20 years that I know of. Yeah, probably a lot longer. As soon as there was wheelie bins, I'm sure.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
So tell us, you started doing that, and did you jump straight into LBC then, or was it just a little bit?
Didn't jump fully in it. I was still at uni, so very gradual. So once I knocked on a few doors on the road and seen there was demand for it.
How did you find that knocking on doors?
Yeah, I mean it was very nerve-wracking at the beginning. I'd never done anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, as soon as after you do the first few, then it becomes a lot easier. Yeah.
Do you think that was a good skill set for you to get to then go into wider business?
100%. I think that's probably the main skill set. If you can be confident and speak to people and put your idea out there and just keep knocking on doors and not and overcome the rejection, then that's probably the most key skill. If you got any good idea and you can do that, you can make a success of it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I just always, we've had people on podcasts, I think back to Jamie Simpson, that rejection and sales, especially face to face, but where we're in such a social community now, people are online selling, telephones, etc. When you're there face to face, that's probably the hardest form of selling. But like you say, give you good skill sets for when you then you go out into other fields or whatever, maybe you start your own business, you've got a skill set and you're not really afraid of rejection. You're not afraid of people.
Oh yeah. A lot of people come away from that now, don't they? And like you said, they're doing that online advertising and people even don't like getting on the phone as well sometimes.
It's faceless, isn't it? Yeah. So you was knocking on doors, started to get some work in, I assume. So run me through that piece.
So started just gradually, maybe built up enough to do like 1 day a week. So then I'd do 1 day a week on my day off from uni, and then continued on doing uni for the last year. After that, went to work with my dad, who's a plasterer. So I was labouring with him and started doing a little bit of plastering with him when I was about 20, through the teenage years and towards the end of uni as well. So was doing it on the side and gradually building up. So like on the weekends and evenings, I'd go out knocking on the doors, building up the customers. And then probably I'd say half a year to a year after that, after working, doing the plastering with my dad and doing it on the side, then I made the breakaway and focused on doing it full time.
What kit did you need to start, obviously? So
very basic. So I think the first van was around 250 quid. Was like all I had at the time. Had the pressure washer in the garage that wasn't working. Had to get that fixed. What else? I didn't know how to do it properly. I was only just getting into it, so I just made up anything. So I was making up tanks, attic tanks, and bits of netting as well to filter the water and stuff. So before I knew there was actually places where you can get it made and do it properly. Yeah, we're just having to sort of make it up.
We see a post on LinkedIn, I've got it on my notes here, about having one of the first fully enclosed bin cleaning trucks. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that. What's that?
Yeah, so that was the Terminator, we called it.
Well, it's good, Terminator.
Yeah, the Terminator.
I want to hear that name, especially with AI going around, just talking and taking over the world before you know it.
So that was, I think going back to about 2016, 2017, 2018, somewhere around then. Went over. That was after had been going a good few years and was getting more and more into commercial bin cleaning.
Okay, is that where you are now? So you're residential and commercial, or is it purely commercial?
Yeah, no. So I sold off the residential just last December. Okay. So sold off that leg. That was a big decision for us.
We'll come on to that later.
Yeah. So on the Terminator then. So we were getting more into the commercial bin cleaning. Had a contract come up with one of the housing associations in London, and we won that. And then so I needed to get another truck for that. And then was looking on eBay, found this truck and it said fully automated, fully enclosed. And I was like, this sounds too good to be true. There's no way it can produce the pressure to clean the bin properly. So I went over to Ireland to see it, where it was in Belfast. It originally 10 years before that came from France.
Right.
Originally was like 110 grand, all singing, all dancing machine, but obviously so secondhand when I got it. But yeah, it was good for us for a few years. It got it over from Ireland, and we did lots of work with it.
Is that something that's regularly in your arsenal now? Are all your vans like that, or are they all predominantly just pressure washer?
No, so that one's gone now. So yeah, we've got a couple of commercial bin cleaning trucks. That one's gone. We've got a couple newer ones, smaller ones. We opted to go for 3.5 ton now rather than 7.5 ton.
Why was that?
Easier to get the drivers.
I suppose 7.5 ton. You have to have Cat 1.
Cat
1.
Easier to get the drivers and easier for manoeuvring as well in and out of London all the time.
I suppose, 7.5 ton months. So explain to me that move from, obviously you started residential and you was doing that and they built up over time. Sensible way to do things rather than some of the, entrepreneurs that you see saying, I'll give up everything, your family and your house and go all in. So you've done that over time. So was that predominantly all in the residential sector at first? How did you then make that transition to bigger customers? Like you mentioned the housing association, which is, I imagine that's a good market for you to be in for that because of the amount of volume they've got. So tell me about that journey and that transition, how that happened.
Absolutely, yeah. So when I started, it was £2 wheelie bin cleans. That's where we started from. Wow. Eventually going up towards £5 in the later years, but that was the key service that we started with, the wheelie bin cleaning. Yep. And then after that, people would ask, can you clean the gutters? Can you clean my driveway? So started doing other exterior cleaning, even bits of window cleaning. Back in the original days, also doing like mowing the grass, anything really that someone would pay you for.
Make some money.
But then I suppose when we got into commercial, local schools and stuff were probably the first commercial ones to contact us from seeing our website and doing the bin cleaning. So you would do the commercial bins for them, seeing that there was a lot more money in the commercial bins and a lot less hassle, a lot less volume. Okay. So where you could go to 1 or 2 sites a day and do
multiple bins rather than do one bin at 100
to go to 50 addresses, which has its own logistical issues. And then so I binned off sort of the mowing the grass and stuff that didn't really relate to cleaning. So I thought, okay, we'll stick with exterior cleaning, and then sort of started getting more commercial work over the last few years.
Is that schools, housing associations?
Yeah. So mainly, housing associations, councils, property management companies.
Yeah. And what's the medium you use to acquire those customers? Is that direct sales? So
a bit of a mix and a match. So it's a bit of Google AdWords on our website and SEO on organic and some of the videos.
Is there a lot of competition now in your market?
Not a huge amount. That do the commercial bin cleaning. Not a huge amount. Some of the other exterior cleaning that we do, there's more. Yeah, of course. Like gutter cleaning or building cleaning, steam cleaning, pressure washing. But I suppose there's higher barriers to entry with the commercial bins, like to get a decent truck and stuff with the bin lift that lifts it up and catches the water. Yeah. Then you've got to get the trade effluent as well to dispose of it properly and all that.
So you mentioned about all the other services that you had, so exterior cleaning, patios, gutters, etc. Do you still do all them today? Was there a commercial decision to say, actually, we're going to make more money doing the commercial bins, or how did that process go? Yeah,
so we still do all the other exterior cleaning services. We found now more to the affluent homeowners rather than just some of the people that we were working with before. Yeah. Just where we've grown and our overheads have gone up and our prices have gone up.
So it's that particular client.
Yeah. But we still last December sold the domestic bins off. Yeah, which was a big decision. Was kind of playing on my mind for a few years.
What made you come to that decision? Tell me that process.
Yeah, so we tried building it up, and was kind of building it, and like we'd gain a few, lose a few, and a lot of the competition was sort of one-man bands and smaller companies that weren't VAT registered. So we're competing with them, competing on price a lot of the time as well. Of course. Whereas we were higher priced, and we just thought, it's too hard as well. You're logistically managing it with the local bin men as well, and like I say, you're doing high volumes. We just found it that we could do. It was better business to do the commercial jobs, fewer locations, higher profit margins.
It's interesting because even when we started our journey, you outgrow that. I think most cleaning companies, depending on what you're starting it for, if it's like you say, a 1-2 man band, and they're doing house cleans or bin, small bin cleaning, and they've got no overheads. They're just a van and they're, at home or whatever it may be. The natural progression then goes into the commercial side of things. And then, like you say, you've got before you know it, you need office. You need an office, or you need staff, or admin staff. Then you've got the overheads of however many guys and things like that. And it's sort of, you price yourself out of it eventually.
Exactly, yeah.
And we went through that. We started doing little bits of commercial here and there when we domestic, when we first started with managing agents, things like end of tenancy cleans. And like you say, it's low margin work or low cost work. Very logistically, takes a lot of logistics.
Got to be higher volume.
Exactly. Yeah. You need so much, like you say, rather than one place where you've got 10 bins, you need 10 bins in 10 different locations. So logistically, it's a little bit more hard to manage. So I think that's sort of a natural progression, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it was hard. It was a hard decision, though, I think, because there's a bit of it's where you started as well. You probably took me longer than it should have to come away from that, because there's still a bit of a connection, I suppose.
And what was the final decision on that? Is it just like, we know we can focus our time and effort on the commercial side of things and get the same revenue for less customers, less locations? What was the final push to say, actually, let's cut this arm loose or sell it on?
Yeah, so I thought, so my missus, she's in the business as well. She wanted to get rid of them long time. She wanted to sell them a long time.
Yeah, you've done well to keep hold of it so long.
Yeah, time before I did, because she was dealing with all the admin that goes behind it in the office. Yeah. As well.
That must be a pain.
All the time. Yeah, because you're dealing with people for £5 and there'll be people calling in to say, like, oh, what time are you coming today, and all this sort of stuff. No matter how many systems and processes you try to put in place, we even had like a phone number that would go and tell them, if you're calling about your bin clean today, this is the time. Do you know what I mean? We tried to cut all the time back, but we still found that it was taking so much time for such little amounts of money. So finally I said, okay, let's give it 3 months. We'll try and build it up, because it wasn't very profitable as well compared to some of our other services. Yeah. So we said, okay, we'll try and build it up, make it more profitable. And then it was just very difficult doing that, especially with a lot of people doing it for a lot cheaper than us.
So you sold it to someone else, did you?
Yes. So I put it up for sale and sold it to someone else. Yeah.
Just a one-man
No,
band,
so it's actually a company. They're like a facilities management company.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure. They seem to be getting into the residential. I think they're buying up like locksmith companies and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's been quite good because they're based near me as well, and now they're sending us commercial work. So we've done a few jobs for them.
Oh, fantastic!
So it's been quite good.
What was that process like, selling the business? Talk me through that. I've never had anyone that sold.
It was really pretty easy. Really, it wasn't a massive. That section of our business was less than 10% of our total business. So it wasn't a massive standalone business. Sort of one man and one van sort of. Doing and around built up, so it wasn't huge. So
did you go to a broker, or did you just put it on the website?
No, so I just put it on eBay.
Oh wow, put it on eBay. Yeah, I've seen a few on there, because I look, there's obviously that's a way to grow as well, isn't it? Acquisitions. So I have a look, and I've seen businesses all over the place. I just wondered what that process was. I imagined it to be stressful for some reason. I just think back to selling a house or something like that. It's a real pain in the arse. But it sounds like it was pretty easy.
Pretty easy. I mean, it was quite recent, so we're still getting a lot of inquiries, which is quite of an issue, because the people are still calling us and we're passing it on. So we're still trying to work our way around that. Yeah.
Start another business. Start again. Mrs. might have something to say about it. Yeah. So staff training. So when you get people on board, run me through that process. Is it quite difficult to get through people with good people that know the kit, or is it relatively easy with the training that you provide?
Yeah, so our last hire was really good. He came from a company where they do exterior cleaning, and that was the easiest probably of all the hires, because they'd had the experience. So if possible, try and get someone with experience. If not, when they come on board, put them out with one of the more experienced guys for a few weeks until they can find
just buddy them up and go from there. It's nice and simple. Tell me, we say to guests that come on all the time. Now, obviously, you've started your business going well. You've got the different sectors and you're progressing with commercial side of things and different avenues. Obviously, it's not always, there's many ups and downs in business, isn't there? Is there any particular high points? What's been a point within your business journey so far? And it's still ongoing, obviously, I know. But has there been a particular high point that you look back fondly on and you can think, well, that makes this journey worth it? I mean, for us, it's probably our first 7 figures, when we've done 7 figures in revenue. That's just, it's £1 million, big target, and quickly on to the next. But, that was a moment I look back on quite fondly. Is there anything that sticks out for you?
Yeah, I think that winning some of the bigger contracts with some of the councils and housing associations have been good along the way.
Is that for us, internals, and we'll come on to internals in a bit, the process to do that can be quite long, the tender process.
Yeah.
Is it the same with the work you do?
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, some of them. Yeah, I think it all depends on the values and their budgets and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you win a big contract, you got one in particular that sticks out?
The first time we won Tower Hamlet Homes, that was good because that was what first got us down into the commercial route and getting that other truck and led us on.
How many properties did they manage?
Yeah, so I can remember the contract, 2,500 bins to clean, and
that's a lot of bins.
About the same amount of bin stores and bin shoots.
Yeah.
So it was enough to keep like a van busy for a few months, for like 3-4 months. Yeah.
That's a lot of bins, isn't it, to go through?
So we're currently doing another one now for a waste company that will keep 2 guys in the truck busy like the whole year round. Yeah. So
is that another avenue for you? Waste companies, that's a good idea.
Waste companies, yeah. Well, yeah. Sometimes they've got the contract with the council to empty the bins. Yeah. So the council's the main one. They've got the contract with the council. Yeah. And then we're working for them. Yeah.
With them.
Waste company's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So tell me, what other services do you do? So apart from bin cleaning,
yeah. So all sort of exterior cleaning. So starting at the top of the house, really, the roof, gutters, car parks.
Commercial and domestic?
Commercial and domestic, yeah. So on domestic, roofs, gutters, driveways, patios, render, brickwork, all sort of exterior pressure washing and steam cleaning. Yeah. And then commercially, like car parks, communal paving areas, chewing gum, graffiti removal, the commercial bins, bin stores, bin chutes, and then the buildings themselves, render and brickwork and stuff.
I used to work for the Royal Borough of Chelsea and Kensington. I used to manage about 158 properties there. How do you clean the bin chutes?
Bin chutes, yeah. So we've got a special winch that we got specially made. Go up to the top of the chuck it down the hopper, the winch with a spinning rotating jet on it. It hooks up to the jetter, to the pressure washer.
And then what, you just catch it
in the bin and then put it on the back of the truck.
Got it.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. I've never seen that, and I always wondered. What about blockages as well? Do you deal with them?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do bin chute blockages. Yeah.
There's a fair few of them going around.
Do you do them?
No, we don't. No. Now, I remember a particular reason I asked that when you mentioned it. I remember a particular project that come in once to clean bin chutes, and I had to do. I was like, I've never even thought of how that was.
How could you do it? Yeah.
Because and I know they get blocked quite often from working at Chelsea and Kensington, to be honest. So we mentioned about obviously winning some of the bigger commercial contracts, and on the flip side of that, is there a particular low point that you've been through at LBC?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I was speaking to my missus the other day just about this as well. So it was in the last couple of years, we had the Hell Week, we call it. It was a particularly bad week. Right. Three big things kind of went wrong all at the same time. One was company credit cards. We at the time we had everyone had a company credit card, and then just out of the blue,
expenses and things like
expenses and stuff. Yeah. So then out of the blue, we had them say that someone spent £13,950 on some diamonds up in Liverpool. We were like, what? So someone's card obviously got cloned or whatever, but they weren't gonna pay it back. I think because what the scammer had called up our guy, and he pretended to be the credit card provider, and he'd given them the code from his phone or something. God. So they weren't going to pay out because he had done that. But so that was one thing. Nightmare. So that was over my head, thinking I'm going to have to pay off this credit card.
How did you? It's an interesting one. Obviously, employees make mistakes. Yeah, it happens, right? And that's part of the learning process. I had a call before we started this podcast. Something had gone wrong on a job. It happens. How did you deal with that particular issue with that employee?
So that one.
Were they sacked?
So we'll come back to that. So that was one of the things. Yeah. That was just one of the things. The same week, our lovely Terminator truck caught fire.
Cool, go on.
The batteries were flat. The guys had it on charge, on the trickle charge, and kind of went doing some stuff in the yard. And then I was driving back to the yard, and I seen it on. Seen some smoke. I was like, what the hell? And then the bloody truck was on fire. All the loom from the battery had gone up into the cab. Oh, so that was our truck gone, and you can't make this up. It was the day before that, actually. There was you can't make this up. No fires in 10 years. Yeah. The day before that, we had a fire in the yard. I had a welder over, and we were welding. There's some containers in our yard, and I just was trying to make it all nice and neat. So I just wanted to put some brackets on the wall where we could hang our scaffold tower. Yeah. So he was welding. He was welding these brackets on the container, and it backs onto our neighbour's container. Yeah. And a spark managed to get through. And we didn't even know what was in the container, and it bloody went on fire.
What was in it?
Well,
Diamonds. The diamonds. Are
no,
still
it was,
on the
it was
shop.
only like old staging equipment. I don't even know if they'd used it in years, but yeah, so that wasn't too good.
Wow.
Our insurance paid out. 'Cause it turned out the welder didn't have bloody his own public liability. So you don't, when you're quite a small company and you get someone around in the yard, you don't think of checking these things. Yeah. But when me or you go to do work with bigger companies, the first thing and it just shows you that you need to do that due diligence. Yeah, so even like if someone came here to do something, you should be checking. It seems ridiculous, but if they come and even an electrician say came to do, you want to see their thing, don't you? Yeah. Because something goes wrong, you don't think about it. It end up coming back on you. So
that's interesting. And I'm glad you elaborated really, because it comes on to a couple of things. So, because I'm always, mistakes, I see them as investments in terms of, well, they've done something wrong and they'll know not to maybe do it like that again or whatever it may be. How did you deal with both of those issues? Yeah, so the credit card thing, we made a credit card policy, but we brought it up in the team meeting, spoke about it. The actual credit card provider, I don't know if it's because of us, but they started sending out text messages that said don't give out them codes. Don't give it out, and we basically shared that around with everyone. We managed to get that one back. We managed to in the end they realised that it was fraud and covered it. The vehicle fire couldn't really do anything about that. The insurance just paid out for that eventually. Yeah. And luckily my insurance covered it as well. You must be on first name terms with your insurance provider. Yeah. You guys from LBC again. 2 fires in 2 days. I mean, no fires in 10 years and 2 fires in 2 days. You can't make that up, can you? And you as a business owner, you're probably pulling your hair out, aren't you? Oh yeah, it was a stressful week. Yeah, definitely. Sounds like a stressful week. The pandemic, COVID. How did you fare? So we weren't too bad really because we're exterior. There was a bit of. I remember when it first started because I know a few exterior cleaning companies, especially local to me here. And I remember at first it was a bit like everyone was really unsure of what to do. Bit of uncertainty, yeah. But after a while, it become clear that if you're outside, it wasn't so bad, and obviously helped us with the drainage. That was fine. So how did you? Yeah, 100%. So we had a few cancelled jobs the first week or two. A lot of people were uncertain, but we kind of managed their uncertainty and kind of put all the relevant things. So it didn't really affect your revenue at all. Not so bad. A little dip for a couple of weeks, but not so bad. We kind of pivoted as well, sort of. Started doing a bit of fogging. Yeah, a bit of decom. Makes sense. Antiviral fogging. That kind of washed its face. Really, it didn't really take off massively, but covered all the costs. Covered what you've done. Yeah, we were the same. I think the reason I asked that question directly after is usually a lot of people, especially when they're in the industry. I mean, we have people that are not in the industry, but when I say that, tell me something. A point that was pretty low. Most people naturally go to COVID because internal cleaning, well, you couldn't clean internally because everyone was, keeping their distance, etc. So most owners' revenues fell off a cliff. But I say, you guys being external. Yeah. Have you ever thought about internal? Not really. I used to share an office with a guy who did a lot of internal. And realised it weren't worth the stress. Looked at it and gone, I don't fancy that. Yeah, no, I suppose it's kind of, it's sort of kind of lower margins, higher volume again, which is quite hard. That's that's when people say to me, why have you got a drainage company? It doesn't really make any sense. Well, the logic behind that is spot on. Cleaning is generally relatively low, margin work, and you need a lot of volume. So, you need to employ a lot of people, don't you? If you're making it on an hourly rate. I mean, we've got 80 to 100 people, give or take. To manage those amount of people is stress. In a service-based industry where labour is the predominant element of your cost, you're effectively managing people, and that's what you're doing all the time. You're on the phone managing people who are sick, and so you need a lot of volume for a very low margin. So you've got to say all them people and all the overheads that go with that. Where the drainage side of things, that sounds like the exterior stuff, it's better margin. You don't need as much work. You don't need as many employees, and you can make more sometimes, sometimes more money. So it just makes sense. So that's why I like to have the two. But you're not the first person that's ever said that they, avoid internal because of that. It seems quite competitive as well. There's quite a lot of big players in it. Well, I think, I think it goes back into probably my next question, actually. Do you think there's a stigma around the industry cleaning? And I mean that as a catch-all, internal, external, or do you find maybe the external cleaning is seen as a little bit more technical in terms of, when you start looking at DOS systems, steamed cleaning, things like that, bricks. And do you think there's a stigma around the cleaning industry?
I think the external is probably a slightly newer industry maybe, and it's kind of emerging industry, whereas the internal, I think the stigma is like there's quite a few big players that cover a lot of the market. Yeah.
Do you work with any of the big guys with your stuff?
Yes, we work with some of the like other FM companies that they predominantly do like internal clean, but they might not do some of the stuff that we do. Yeah.
So low margin work, and don't fancy it. I don't blame you with the internals. So on that, we talk about marketing, obviously, because people that watch this are generally probably starting their own cleaning business. They're in the process of it and they're wondering, how do I grow, scale, whatever it may be. What's been, and we ask this of most guests, we've had the marketing expert on, SEO expert. What is the method for you guys to get customers to you? Is that inbound stuff? So, you mentioned SEO and your website and some pay-per-click stuff. Is that your predominant tool? Do you do outbound as well? Tell me a little bit about how you guys do that.
So, a bit of both. I mean, some of the success that we've had with housing associations and councils before was from sending out these video cards.
Okay, well, tell me more about it.
So, it's basically like a brochure.
Yeah.
And you send it out. So, send it out to a housing association, find the right person on LinkedIn, call them up, make sure they're at the office, make sure they're going to get it, send it to
LinkedIn,
them.
See, good talk.
Yeah, and then just like a nice brochure. When they open it up, it starts playing a video.
Oh wow!
You can kind of customize the entry of the video as well.
So it's a physical that you send out, and they open it. I've never seen that.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, I'm getting some more made very soon. So yeah, I'll send you it.
Yeah, so that's a good way to market. What about any other stuff?
Yeah, so the YouTube channel as well, like the content on the website, which go hand in hand. The sort of writing the blogs and the SEO.
I suppose you're on YouTube. I imagine your stuff is very visually pleasing. So I've seen cleaning companies, external cleaning companies that do phenomenal on YouTube. Is that a big part of your strategy, or is it just something you need to do and you just do as and when, or is it a big part of what you're going to be doing?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing probably like averaging like a video a week. Probably want to start getting into it more. But yeah, already we've only been doing it for sort of a year or two. Yeah. And there's a lot of people saying, we want to work with you. We've seen how you work. So it helps with conversion, helps with leads as well coming in. And for us, it's all about sort of educating the prospects as well, or the customers through the videos, so they can make an informed decision. Yeah.
I say we've been doing YouTube about 18 months now, and I'll probably say it's only really just starting to pay dividends now. It's a nice big, I think it's worth doing if you, especially something that's so visually, you can see a distinct before and after you've done pressure washing or you've cleaned a bin or whatever it may be. I think you've definitely got a bit of legs there. Yeah. Do you do outbound stuff as well? So your tenders, do you go to market for that?
No. So we want to start doing that. So I've got a new sort of sales and marketing guy starting next week, and that's when we're going to step up the outbound stuff. Yeah. Some direct mail and lumpy mail and that.
What made you go to get someone external to come in and do your sales?
So
the reason I asked that is my own curiosity, and that's why it's a good thing about this podcast. I can get to ask people that are in business their views. That's probably a next step for us. Yeah. But then I'm one of these people, maybe like you. I think, they're not going to do it as well as me, or they don't know the business as well as me, and maybe that's naivety. But what prompted you to get the sales guy in?
So we've had a couple of salespeople in the past, and they've been good, just to deal with the volume of leads that we're getting as well at the moment. So in the office, it's only really myself and my Mrs. Joanne and Dexter, who's like the ops manager. So it's only sort of myself and Joe trying to deal with all the leads that's coming in. Yeah. So we're just a bit swamped at the moment. So we need some
get
help.
Someone else
to follow up effectively as well. Yeah. Yeah.
And then will they be looking at sort of bigger leads, like schools?
Yeah. So So some of the direct mail, some of the reaching out stuff, want to start targeting those with direct mail and following up. Mm-hmm. But mainly initially anyway, to deal with the leads that we're getting, to make sure everybody's getting followed up. Yeah.
Do you use social media quite a lot?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You get a lot of leads from that.
Yeah. Instagram, a bit of Facebook. Yeah. Yeah. LinkedIn.
What about Facebook? Do you get a lot? The reason I ask that is we don't get too much from Facebook, to be honest. But I wonder if that's because if you're in a domestic market, that's a good avenue to go down. If you're looking for B2B like we are, LinkedIn. Then probably LinkedIn.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So anything that comes from Facebook, like you say, is usually domestic. Like I've had a couple of messages today for like patio and cleans and driveway cleans and that sort of thing. But we did try some paid advertising on Facebook as well. I don't know how you found that, but we've never done it. Never done it. So we did it. I remember that I did it a few months ago. I spent like £280 and got about 28 leads.
Oh, wow.
But I don't think anybody ended up buying.
No one.
So we find, I don't know about yourself, but find that the intent isn't as high as like Google.
Yeah.
So there's people.
Yeah, someone directly, it might just be they come across it and get in touch, I guess, on Facebook, whereas like say Google, you've got that.
People are looking for the service they want ready to buy.
On the domestic side of things, one thing that I see a lot of at the moment is roof cleaning. Is that a busy side of things for the business at the moment?
So yeah, a lot of people are getting into that.
Because it's obviously quite technical. I mean, I see videos on LinkedIn all the time of people, mainly professional companies like yourself, with people that are doing it wrong. They're up there on a ladder with a cartridge jet wash or whatever it may be, hanging off a shoestring or whatever these guys do. But it seems quite a popular service at the moment.
It is. It seems like every window cleaner is getting into it now.
Yeah.
So we've been
why do you think that is?
For years. So I think
is that where the money is?
Yeah, that's a lot more money in the roof cleaning compared to like the windows. It's like the big ticket item, isn't it? But yeah, there's a lot of people doing it dangerously, as like you say, to start with, and doing it wrong as well. But yeah, it seems to be a growth market. The people are becoming more aware that the roof needs cleaning as well.
I think some of the before and afters you see are mad, aren't they? They're crazy. Like and then I think to myself, that gives you neighbour envy, doesn't it? Because if like your neighbours had it done, especially I've seen them on terraced houses where they've like, they've done a line, and it's just like if it was me, there's no way you could leave that. Yeah. So it seems to sort of sell itself. But I say, like you said, it seems ultra popular at the moment. Yeah. And I just wondered if you were sort of capitalising.
Yeah, it seems like I seen somebody put a post up recently, and it showed like the growth in Google searches and stuff
for roof cleaning.
For roof cleaning,
wow.
Yeah, it seems to be a bit of a growth. Category. So yeah, I think years and years ago, probably people didn't even bother getting it done. But
so that nicely segues me into my my next point. So obviously, roof cleaning is, I imagine, very technical from a health and safety standpoint and things like that. What's some of the technical challenges that you come across or that you look out for when you're doing exterior stuff? Especially when you're using anything with pressure or anything like that on stone or brickwork. Is that quite technical to get your head around?
Yes, I mean, there's like roof cleaning, for example. There's all different types of tiles, and some tiles are more susceptible to pressure washing than others. Okay, so you got to see what type of tiles they are, choose the right sort of method. How do you do that?
Because obviously, I don't imagine a domestic property you can get up on the roof to see, can you?
Yeah, so you can see them from the ground sometimes, or when you get up closer if you're about to start the job and you spot something. Yeah. But so we got a cherry picker as well, which comes in handy for the roof cleans. Yeah. Oh,
yours? You don't hire it in?
Yeah, we hire it out with the driver to other people as well. But yeah, we got that a few years ago when we started getting more and more into the.
But that was a good investment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Doing it safely rather than off a ladder and things like that.
Exactly.
Is there any other technical challenges that you come across when you're doing externals?
Yeah. So like, I suppose you learn from your mistakes, don't you? We came across one in the last couple of years. So render, like different types of render. Normally you can just soft wash them, which is cleaning with a bleach. Base chemical and like steam cleaning. Yeah. And we had one, I think it was last year or the year before, and we were just soft washing it like normal, like render always cleans up lovely. And this particular one was a special render from Italy, and it had this additive in it, right, which just made it all get stained. So yeah, that was a.
Did you get rectified?
Yeah, we had to get it rectified in the end. But yeah, that was like pretty much the profit off the job.
It comes with it happens though, doesn't it? It comes. That's part of the process, isn't it? Is learning. Unfortunately, you've got to do that by making mistakes sometimes, like we've mentioned. Is there a particular project that you've done, coming on to render cleaning, and we talked about roof cleaning, which is quite substantial in terms of its visual effect. Is there a particular project that you've done that really stands out for you that you think, I'm really proud of that project, or that you use as a case study for other, is there a particular project that sticks out for you?
Yeah, so we've got a few, like the churches and mosques and them sort of grand building things, like the sort of historic listed building clean. So there's one in Cricklewood. We cleaned the pumping station, which used to be like used for by Thames Water and stuff for all of that. So, and that was like a grade 2 listed building or something. So real like massive and historic and everything. So yeah.
What challenges come with that, with it being listed? Did you have to approach it slightly different?
Just working with the client, choosing the right method. So yeah, that particular one, they wanted to be extra careful with the chemicals going on the ground and stuff. So we had to use extra chemical absorbent pads on the floor and stop any chemicals going in.
How long did that project take?
That one was quite long actually. Yeah, it was over a month. It was over
consistently on site, or just bits and pieces?
Consistently on site. Wow. Yeah.
How big was it? It was a big place.
Yeah, it was a big old place.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always interesting to see some of them projects. We done one with a subcontractor of ours, actually. it was in London. It was like a York stone front that had never been cleaned in, hundreds of years. It was a real old building. It was a very, very famous jewellers actually, and the results after were just fantastic. It must be, you must be a good part of what you do, having such, because obviously we come in and we clean an office like this or whatever, or we unblock a drain. There's not much visual impact. Whereas something what you guys do external, you look at something before and you look at it after, and it makes a monumental difference.
That's it. Yeah, you can see the difference is really rewarding, especially if it's like an iconic building as well. Yeah. Would
you say that's one of the most rewarding parts of what you do?
Yeah, definitely. I think as soon as I seen, I remember when I first did a strip on a driveway and I seen the difference it can make. I think I was hooked.
I follow a few people on social, and so I say that side of things is good from a visual perspective. Let's say us cleaning a desk, you can't really notice much difference, but what you guys do really does stand out. So, what are the future plans? What's going to be going on with LBC? How long have you been going?
So we're going 11 years now.
11 years.
Yeah, 11 years. So veering towards a commercial, going to focus on the councils, the housing associations, the property management companies, really on those commercial bin cleaning and building cleaning, coming away a bit from the domestic. So I was just really want to try and dominate London for those sort of services. Yeah. I think there's a lot of growth there, especially with all the new buildings and all the sort of councils and housing associations. Some of them seem to be struggling to keep the streets clean and keep the buildings clean. So I think we can help there. So it was always kind of in the back of our mind to get a bit into drainage as well. Okay. A couple of years ago, we
makes sense if you've got all the jetters.
It's kind of a complementary service. Yeah, sure. So that's in the pipeline. That's behind maybe get into maintenance or something like that. Yeah. But I think there's enough legs in what we do. But I suppose when things are going well and you're feeling good, you then start thinking what else you can do, isn't it?
I suppose you get that. It's easy to get that shiny object syndrome, isn't it?
You think the next best thing when really, if you focus on what you're doing, it can get you to where you want to get to.
That's spot on advice. Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, when you look at like maintenance, drainage, things like that, there's so much synergy if you're working with big housing association providers where they've got a big asset portfolio of properties. It makes total sense.
That's it. Just getting in with one of them can some of them manage hundreds of thousands of properties.
No, exactly. So that's what I mean.
Can really keep you busy.
There's definitely some synergy there. What's the plan? How are you going to do that? You get your sales guy on and get them out pushing a bit more of some of the big stuff?
Yeah, so get the sales guy on. Got another guy potentially as well who might be coming on commission only. So he'd be more kind of
driven then.
That you were thinking going directly to them and trying to get the bigger projects over the line. But I think strategically, if we could get those longer term contracts with the councils and stuff, then that gives you the confidence that you can, you've got that. You're not every week then looking for work for all the guys. Yeah, it gives you that kind of base to grow from then.
Do they tie you into sort of 3 year contracts?
So a lot of the ones that we've had already have been 1 years. One of them is 3 years with Ealing Council. But I know a lot of them do 3 to 5 years, so it'd be good to get some of those 5 year contracts.
What frequency do they have the bins? Is it just like a round robin? You'll just go around and just keep doing them. You mentioned about 2,500 bins earlier on one particular account. Do you just continually go around?
That one was like once a year. Okay. So a lot of them are like once a year in the summer months. This other one that we're working on with the waste company would be twice a year. So by the time we clean it, there might be a couple of months, then we'll clean it again. Yeah. Yeah.
So in your 11 years at LBC, if someone was looking to start their own cleaning company, commercial cleaning company in Pacific, given your 11 years experience, what would be, give me high level top 3 things that if someone was brand new, they walked in a door and they said, Conan, I'm going to start my own exterior cleaning company. What would be the 3 pieces of advice you would give that person?
So number 1 would probably be not to do
it.
Don't do it. Don't be afraid to borrow money, I think. So
that's an interesting one.
Yeah, so when I was starting out, was just getting by, like I mentioned, the £250 van, and then would go over to Ireland and get bits of the bin lift made rather than borrowing the money to get it done properly. Okay. So that probably slowed down the growth because you kind of...
What flipped your mindset? There must have been a moment in time because you come to that decision now that, it's okay to use someone else's money, and why wouldn't you? I've probably been like that with the drainage where it's like, I don't really want to borrow or whatever. But JCD, we have different funding methods available depending on what's going on. What changed your mindset in that?
So I think my mistake was, so I remember like one of the first loans I got was with Startup Loans UK. Yeah. And I bought like the second or third van with that. I remember I borrowed about £1,500. And at the time, it's all perspective, isn't it? So I thought that was a lot of money. So I didn't borrow enough. Now looking back, if I was going to tell somebody who's starting off, it would be, if you're definitely decided that you're going to make it work, and you've done your figures and everything, then don't be afraid to borrow more money to get the right equipment, and it's going to make your life a lot easier. Yeah. Second thing would probably be to do what you're doing, like you build a YouTube channel, because it produces content from the offset. You've got that content for the website. You've got more chance of bringing in the inquiries and becoming more of a sort of trusted person as well. Yeah,
I think that's a valid point. I mean, I would say this because I'm invested in it and I sat in front of the camera, but I think, especially externals, I say, like, sometimes, I'll be honest, on the channel, we internal wise, we struggle for ideas. Like, if, there's only so many times I can do a contract. We've got some fantastic contracts, but there's only so many times I can walk someone around an office that's a different size or a different denseness or whatever it may be. Whereas the external cleaning, I'll see some people do fantastic on social with that. And I think if you're that minded, I think that's a solid piece of advice. I think you can really build some traction and get a good following through social with some of the stuff that, you guys do, because it just sticks out so much. So that's definitely a top piece of advice for sure.
Yeah.
Number three,
got a third? Probably get a business coach or join a networking group would definitely help out.
I see your B&I label there.
Yeah. So I was there this morning.
Yeah.
No, I find it good. I've been there sort of 6-7 years now. Okay. So not only we only get a few, compared to the amount of leads we get, it's only a small proportion of leads that it brings into the business. But I mean, for personal growth as well, like I was chucked in, I was only there a couple of years and they asked me to be the president of the group.
Oh, wow.
I was really far outside my comfort zone. Yeah. So that for personal growth as well, I think public speaking and all that,
of course,
especially if somebody's starting off and they haven't done much of that, throw yourself in the deep end, get uncomfortable, and
that's the best way to get better good at anything, isn't it? Doing things that you don't necessarily want to do. So do you find networking valuable? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoy it and I find it valuable. Yeah. And even like I say, not so much the leads that it brings into the business, but finding good people to get stuff done as well.
Yeah. No,
do you do any networking?
No, it's something I need to get better at, if I'm honest. Because I'm a firm believer in, it's a bit of a cliche, but your network is your net worth, and I do agree with that. I'll be honest with you, this podcasting is my networking, if I'm honest. Some of the people that obviously we've met previous to this, but get to sit down with you, other people, and talk about business and different aspects and learning. Even like the video cards you mentioned. That's a great idea. You must really stands out. You're gonna have a competitor now in me doing it. It stands out, but to be honest with you, I've never even heard of that. Mm-hmm. So it's something I need to get better at, and I have said to myself I will do more of this year. You mentioned about a business coach. Have you had one? Have one? Do you have one?
Yeah, I've got one now. I've been with the same guy for probably at least 4 or 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that, because I'm always interested in that. Now, we mentioned, and we had a business coach on the podcast. You were the guest before last. So it's interesting that I've had one early days.
Was it Action Coach?
No, it wasn't. I've been approached by them, and I do know a couple of people that use them. The guy I had, he was a lovely guy, and it was very helpful early on. Mm-hmm. But what I found is he'd become a little bit of an expensive cheerleader. So what do I mean by that? Well, so the first couple of months we had all these ideas and, right, you need to do this, improve on that. And then after a time, we were doing all the things that we'd put in place. So everything was going as it should. And it was like, he'd come down for the day and he'd go, oh, well, everything seems to be going well done. And sort of just pat everyone on the back and that would be it. So I say, become a little bit of an expensive cheerleader. But tell me about yours. What made you get one and the process of having one and how you found it useful?
Yeah, so I'm big into personal development and stuff. So I read a lot of books and that, and everyone says if you want to be really good, get a coach, isn't it? Like all the top performers and stuff all have coaches. I watched
Makes sense.
Usain Bolt's documentary last night, actually.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that one.
He's got an interesting coach as well. But it's been really good. Been with him 4 or 5 years now. I suppose it gives you that accountability. It's just I
think that's the key, isn't it?
A lot of time gives you that space and time to think as well. So a lot of the time they're getting the answers out of you, which is fine. But you because you've got that in your diary every week that you're going to be meeting them. Right? If it was just with yourself, something else comes in, you're not
you let it slip.
You're going to let it slip. Yeah.
Yeah, that and I say that was a good thing. That having that accountability that sometimes a coach brings along. I constantly back and forth with that in my own head, to be honest, about having a coach or a mentor of some shape or form. And then I go down the avenue of going, oh, well, I want someone that's been there and done it, and then sort of, are they in the industry or is it totally
not in the
separate?
industry? They were in a different industry, but Yeah, I think it's important as well. If it's a business owner trying to get a coach, as someone who's had a business, isn't there? There's quite a lot of coaches out there that.
And I think one thing it is good for is, I suppose, is good for is, you sound like you work with your wife. How's the dynamic of working with family?
Yeah, so fiance, yeah, no, it's good. It's good. We're both working towards the same thing. It can be quite difficult switching off, when you
find you at home,
10 o'clock at night saying, "Did you send that invoice?"
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, but it is good as long as you kind of separate it. Like I mentioned to you before the podcast, was away on the weekend. Was going to look at a machine, but also we use that time to go to the seaside and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's hard. It is hard to separate when you work with family. It's just your wife that's in the business. Yeah, I suppose that's not too bad then, is it? Everyone knows that the wife's always the boss, so at least there's some clear lines there of who that is. Yeah, I say with the coaching, I'm sort of constantly up and down with that. But like you say, I think the accountability piece, I think that's the best one, because if you're your own boss, really you answer to your employees, but you haven't really got anyone technically above you that you need to report into, and it's just having someone to check in with, and offloading maybe
any challenges. Yeah, discuss the challenges, discuss the wins, discuss the strategy. So you're always thinking a few moves ahead.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good piece of advice to say. I think sometimes struggling to offload any concerns that you may have from a business perspective. If you've got someone there, they can say, usually they'll coach the answer out of yourself. You know the answer really. But just having someone as a reference there is good.
Yeah, very useful,
and you find that useful. Yeah. Well, that wraps up all the questions that I had for Conan. Conan, tell everyone on the camera where they can find you on your social medias and your websites for LBC.
Yeah, so if you look at lbcclean.co.uk or on socials, LBC Clean.
LBC, nice and simple. So if you need any external cleaning, Conan and the team are your guys. So that wraps up this episode. As always, I hope you enjoyed it. Another fantastic guest, and thank you to Conan for taking the time to come down to JCD HQ. As always, on your favorite podcast platforms, make sure you leave us a review and subscribe to the channel. If you're not on YouTube, then make sure you subscribe over on that platform as well. And we're on all of our social medias at the Cleaning Up Business Podcast. You can find us on Instagram and all that good stuff. So that wraps up this episode. As always, thank you for checking in, guys, and we will see you on the next episode.